What's going on, guys? CTG Matt back. Bleacher Report dropped their top 100 NBA players ever list today. I figure we should go over it. Why am I wearing this fishing hat? Because anytime Bleacher Report drops a top 100 list or a player ranking, a lot of the times they're fishing for views. So guess what? I'm going fishing as well. Let's go. Don't forget to like, subscribe. All-time rankings, not something I usually do on this channel or at all, really. I don't really wade into that water very much, but top 100 is quite a lot of players. I scrolled down to 100 just to see who it was. It's artist Gilmore. Fun fact about artist Gilmore, I believe he still has the rebounds per game record in NCAA history. I believe he did so at Jacksonville State or some shit like that. I genuinely don't remember. Sorry, let me check my mic. Yeah, I don't remember. I obviously wasn't alive to watch big artists play the A Train, but pretty good stuff. I mean, 11-time All-Star, 5 in the ABA, 6 in the NBA. Are they counting ABA stats too? 4-time ABA All-Defense. Obviously, like I said, didn't really get to watch a big artist play, but he's a pretty good player. I mean, all things considered, apparently. He was 7'2", which I always find weird because I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I never viewed him as a 7'2" guy. Were they measuring the hair? Maybe. All right, let's see who else we got going here. Dave Bing, Syracuse basketball legend. Dave Bing. I believe he played 4 years at Cuse. Pretty sure. Something like that. Rookie of the Year, 7-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, 1-time scoring champion. He averaged more assists than I remember. Pretty good career for Dave Bing, old Dave Bing considered. I believe he was on the 75 list, which I just thought about that. The NBA did their top 75 list or whatever just a few years ago, so shouldn't it just be the NBA's top 75 players with 25 extra dudes at the top? I don't know, because Dave Bing is, I don't know, I guess lower than I thought. Who's next? Clay, Megan Thee Stallion's boyfriend. Lucky motherfucker. Oh, this lucky bastard Klay Thompson gets everything, right? 6'5", one of the best shooters ever, gets to play with Steph Curry and Draymond Green, gets Megan Thee Stallion. Pretty sure he already dated, what was her name back in the... You know what, Clay? You're that guy. Of course, 37 and a quarter or whatever. Oh, wow, it's right there. That's pretty funny. A pretty good player, all things considered. Really good defender in his prime. Best shooter, one of the best shooters ever. I mean, he's a career 41%er. Jesus, I never knew that one. Last season with the Mavs, he was not all too bad in the time he did play. When he did play, it was the thing with the Mavericks last year. I don't think he was on the 75 list, was he? I think he was close. Actually, I think he did make it. Bernard King, Bucket Bernard. I did not realize his shot was like that. It's kind of Jokic-esque almost. Very good player, of course. 22.5 for his career. Good for him. It's weird ranking these really old players. I didn't watch them, and so I'm not going to sit here and bang the table like, why is Bernard King not above Joe Dumars? I don't care. Joe Dumars, pretty good player as well. I honestly thought Bernard King would be higher. As I literally just said 20 seconds ago, I'm not going to be sitting here banging the table for guys like Bernard King, but I think I might have to against this one. I think he's better than Joe Dumars all time. I do respect Joe Dumars, don't get me wrong, but Bernard King was a walking bucket. I think he won a scoring title. Yeah, one scoring title. Like, he was a dog. Joe Dumars was a dog too, don't get me wrong. But it depends on what you want. You know what I mean? Like, Bernard King was the main guy on his teams. Joe Dumars was second fiddle to IT, Zeke, whatever you want to call him. It's not to say Joe Dumars was a bad player. He's a terrific player. But I don't know. I guess it's weird. It's really weird. If I'm leveling a franchise, there's nobody else there. Would I rather have Bernard King or Joe Dumars? I'm thinking I'm taking Bernard King, but I don't know. I guess Joe Dumars won more. He's also a pretty bad executive, not going to lie to you. But on to the next one, Dave Debusher. Debusher. You know what else is crazy? I'm pretty sure this is a few picks back, but I'm pretty sure, what's his name? Dave Bing was a member of Congress, or at least he ran for mayor or some shit. The only reason I was even reminded of that is because Dave Debusher's here, and I'm pretty sure Dave Debusher also did something in politics at one point. Or no, I'm thinking of Bill Bradley. Either way, Debusher was kind of like, I don't know, the precursor to Charles Oakley, I guess. Kind of like an enforcer type. Had very limited actual skills, but could rebound the hell out of the ball. 8-time All-Star, 1-time All-Defense. I mean, 16 points per game is nothing to scoff at. He was known for his dirty work. I mean, you literally see that right here. He won as a dirty work extraordinaire. Like, he was kind of the precursor to an Oakley, but except he had better footwork. Except he did shoot 43% as a big man is some nasty shit right there. I can't lie to you. Bill Charman. Okay. All right. I'm unfamiliar with his game. Very unfamiliar. I can't lie to you. A career free throw percentage of 88.3. I shouldn't laugh. 42.6% from the field. Efficiency was awful back in the day is what I'm slowly realizing when I look at these old player bios. It's like, damn, 42% from the field for your career is kind of nasty work. But 4-time champ, 7-time All-NBA, 8-time All-Star, like that's good work right there. Bill Charman. Pretty sure he played for my Celtics too. Yes, he did. Bob Cousy right there. They once had my guy at 51 in a ranking. No offense, Bill. No offense, Bill. But 51 is crazy for Bill Charman. Jason Tatum, the anomaly. Taco J, my guy. Sad when they go young like that, considering he's hurt with an Achilles injury. It sucks to see. It's nice to see that he's making the top 100 list because, like, in like 5 years, if he comes back from this Achilles tear and he's like the same player or at least close to it, he's going to be even higher. And he's a champion already, 6-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA. Like, that's some more accolades than some of the guys already in front of him have. I think Jason Tatum deserves the spot here because he led a team to a championship as the main option. He's an All-NBA player consistently every year of his career when he was really going the last few years. He scored 30 a game once in his career for a full season. He's a career 1.1 steals per game guy. That's cool. 3.8 assists is low. You got to remember them early years. His role was score. Nowadays, speaking of last season, it changed a little bit and he became more of a playmaker for the Celtics. But Jason Tatum, I think he deserves this spot here, and it's only 93. It's not like they ranked him 40th or something like that. Lenny Wilkins, another one where it's like I'm unfamiliar with him. 9-time All-Star, 1-time assist champ. That's pretty cool, I guess. Lenny Wilkins. I don't know much about him, but yeah, Portland, pretty good player, I guess. 16.5 points per game, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Like, that's respectable as hell. Total seasons played 15. He was a championship head coach with the Sonics. He was coaching that 79 Sonics team. I didn't know that. See, we learn something new every day. Shout out Lenny Wilkins. Chauncey Billups. Chauncey's a fun one, because he was never like a top 5 player in the NBA. Not once. They won a championship with him as the main guy, leading kind of the most all-around, well-built unit in a long time. I think he's really good. Would I put Chauncey Billups all-time over a Lenny Wilkins? I mean, I don't know. I love me some Chauncey, obviously, but I don't know. It's really weird because his championship is, again, one of the most well-built teams ever. And he was the leader of it all, but I'm not sure how high I would have Chauncey. Just because, like, look at the individual accolades. 5-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, 2-time All-Defense. Like, Jason Tatum has more All-NBA and the same amount of All-Star. I think more All-Stars. So, I don't know. And they both have a championship. I guess the Finals MVP is the differentiator, or the All-Defense. I don't know. I respect the hell out of Chauncey Billups, but this is pretty high. Chris Webber. Wow. Timeout. Wait, do I have any? Chris Webber's a what-if in my mind, honestly, because the latter half of his career was just derailed by injuries and destroyed by injuries. You look at his Sixers years and stuff like that. When he was with the Sixers, they actually, I remember watching a broadcast, like an old, like, a Hardwood Classic, and they were like, Webber to the Sixers, a really good move. That puts them back in contendership. No, it didn't, because Chris Webber was washed by that point. 21 a game, 10 rebounds. Remember when he was a fringe Hall of Famer and they were having like great debates whether he was a Hall of Famer or not? I thought he was kind of the whole time, but that's not trying to be an a-hole here. But the bar to get in the NBA or the Basketball Hall of Fame is extraordinarily low. Another one where it's like, though, all time, would you rather have Tatum or Webber? I might take Tatum. Again, the actual accolades are just better for him. I don't know. Keep moving. Earl The Pearl. Earl The Pearl was nice. He was a shorter guard. Like, how tall was he? He couldn't have been more than 6'2". Couldn't have been. Pretty solid career. I mean, he led the Knicks to a championship, and that alone makes you a Hall of Famer, because the Knicks winning a championship is the biggest joke I've ever heard of. So, you know, the fact that him, Willis, and Clyde were able to get them there, Hey, man, that's one of the biggest accolades ever. People always talk about Dirk's 2011 ring, but the fact that Earl The Pearl and them were able to win a damn championship, despite playing for the Knicks, is quite incredible. Draymond, this is really fun. I always like seeing current players here. Draymond definitely is one of the most deserving because he's one of the best defensive players maybe ever. You know, he's up there with the Rodmans and stuff like that. 9-time all-defense, 1-time steal champion, and he plays the 4, by the way. The fact that he's a career 32% three-point shooter is even more flooring because for the past, 5 years, he hasn't been able to shoot a singular jumper. Kids are going to look back at this stat line and be like, how impactful was Draymond Green really? And it's like very, very. I think there's going to be an influx of kids in the future who question how good he was, similar to like my generation with like Rodman and shit. You'll have the ones like me, obviously, that can look back and say Dennis Rodman was a damn beast. But you also have the ones that are like he wouldn't make it in today's NBA. Draymond Green is a fantastic defender and a fantastic playmaker for his size, too. Almost 6 assists per game, with over a steal and a block a game, too. Like, there's valid criticisms of Draymond Green. Is he dirty? At times, yes. At times, very much yes. Is there times where he's just acting a damn fool? Also, absolutely yes. Unquestionably, there's times where Draymond's just a big old idiot. But in terms of, like, impact on the game, Draymond Green as a player archetype just doesn't really exist a lot in the NBA. You know, a forward like him, honestly, I know he played football at Michigan State. He's literally built like a football player. Like, not many NBA players exist like this. It's like if Lou Dort could pass. You know what I mean? Like, it's really, Draymond is a unicorn almost in the NBA. Because there's not many players that can give you 9, 7, and 6 on any given night. And especially since he's playing some of the best defense you'll ever see. It's kind of like if Ben Simmons, you know what I mean? Like the Ben Simmons-Draymond pipeline was there. Ben Simmons just couldn't kind of move with it. You know what I mean? But they were kind of in the same ilk. Where it's like these guys are 4s that can pass, they can rebound, they can defend, and sometimes score a little bit. You know what I mean? But Draymond is a damn unicorn in the NBA. Is kind of what I'm trying to get at. Alonzo Mourning. All right, this is one of those ones. I'm not an Alonzo Mourning guy, but 3 blocks per game for his career is nuts, to say the least. I mean, that's just insane. Of course, he's a Heat legend, maybe the second best Heat player of all time. D-Wade's number 1, and I don't even think it's close. Zoe was a beast on the inside. It's a shame he kind of gets jumbled up in the mismatch of, like, demon centers that just happened to be around in the 90s. Shaq, Ewing, Olajuwon, even Barkley wasn't a center. He was more of a 4, but just a big guy in general. Like, the 90s bigs were so damn deep. That, like, generation of big men was so deep that, like, Alonzo Mourning genuinely kind of feels like he gets lost in the shuffle sometimes. Just because of how dominant the 90s was with big men. Like, there was demons walking around you know what I mean? Every team felt like they had a damn Hall of Fame center, except for the guy that won all the damn rings in the 90s, who wasn't a center. Talk about that guy later, though. Let's move on. Tony Parker. Okay. See, this one's a little bit more interesting. Because, like, I know the 4 championships, and I know he has a finals MVP because he was really good in, like, 06, whatever the hell that was. But TP as an individual player is like, I don't know. He's good. He's good. Really good. He's definitely, I'd say he's all Hall of Famer, 100%. Deservingly so. But like I said, as an individual player, I kind of look at him and I'm like, I don't know. He's really all-time great, but I think there's some guys above him, like another point guard here, Earl Monroe. I think I might take Earl Monroe over Tony Parker. I don't know. This is really weird to compare because it's way different time frame. Tony Parker came 50 years after Earl The Pearl in them. No, it's 30 years, 40, but either way. I think Tony Parker was a key part in the Spurs dynasty. However, I do think he also hurt them. There was some areas where he hurt them. You know, the Brent Barry situation. Was it Brent Barry or was it Joe Barry? It was one of the Barry brothers. That situation was weird. Steven Jackson hates Tony Parker. I'm pretty sure it's Steven Jackson who hates Tony Parker. That's really interesting. But Steven Jackson is a mental patient. TP is an all-time great, but as an individual player, I kind of look at him and I'm like, I'm underwhelmed. I'm underwhelmed. Is that what you want to hear? I'm underwhelmed. On to the next one, Sam Jones. was really good with the Celtics dynasty. He's a freaking 10-time champion. That's just unheard of. I don't think that's ever going to happen again. I don't think there will be a singular NBA player ever again to win 10 championships. It just will never happen again. And he was a bucket, 18 a game in an era where they were probably scoring 90 flat as like their game highs. You know what I mean? Like 18 out of 90 is a good-ass ratio. Of course, you know, it's during a time where there was like 8 teams, maybe 10, you know, so it was a little bit more weird back in the day, but at the same time, you can only look at what they accomplished, and what he accomplished is a 10-time champion, which again will never happen again. I'm sorry, it just won't. There's never going to be another NBA player with 10 championships, not in this era especially, because it's the end of the dynasties and such. Adrien Dantley, a guy I commonly forget on Sporkle quizzes. I respect Dantley. He was a bucket with the Jazz. 24 a game is crazy. A 2-time All-NBA, and he averaged 24 a game. Wow. I know he was competing with, like, that's the George Gervin era, I think, and stuff like that. But, like, man, does that feel really low for a guy who literally averaged 24 and 6 per game. So he won 2 scoring titles and only made 2 All-NBA teams. I'm going to assume it's both years he won the scoring title. 6-time All-Star, though. So he was a 6-time All-Star, but only made All-NBA twice. How many All-NBA teams were there back then? 1? That's really weird. I don't know. I think Adrien Dantley is a guy who has the skill set to play in any era. Majority of these guys do. They made the top 100 list, of course. But Dantley was a bucket. But I think, like, in today's era, he would be more cherished and definitely make more than 2 All-NBA teams. Jimmy Butler. I'm going to keep moving. I don't like Jimmy Butler. I will never like Jimmy Butler. You can't make me like Jimmy Butler. I will never like Jimmy Butler. It's the Celtics fan in me. I hated him when he was with the Bulls, and now I hated him when he was with the Heat, and then he joins the Warriors, which is literally like Italy joining the Axis forces in World War II. It's like, what are you doing? I just compared Jimmy Butler to the Germans in World War II. Yes, just as bad to me. I hate both of them. You can't make me like Jimmy Butler. It's just never gonna happen. Is he a good player? Yeah, I can accept that he's a really good player. That's about all you're gonna get out of me. On to the next one. Bob Laneir, the Bonnies. Stand up, Bonaventure. St. Bonaventure's very own Bob Laneir. He was drafted to Milwaukee. I did a full video on Bob Laneir back in the day. You're never going to find it, so don't bother looking, because nobody cares about basketball back then on YouTube, unless there's like a retirement community on YouTube I haven't tapped into yet, which I definitely would if it was available. But Bob Laneir was a damn good player. And another one where it's like he kind of got lost in the shuffle in an era where centers were just demons. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, he was just there. You know, 8-time All-Star, no All-NBAs. Like, yeah, that's why he didn't make an All-NBA team. They mention it, which is kind of nuts. Bob Laneir was a very, very great player that just nobody really, I guess, cared about back in the day. I mean, they might have liked him, but, like, they didn't respect him, I guess, is kind of what I'm getting at. Dikembe Mutombo. I expected him to be lower, to be honest. I expect him to be, like, in the 90s spot. I like that they're putting him higher because this is a guy who contributed to multiple winning teams, never won, but he contributed to multiple winning teams. Them Hawks teams that he was on weren't bad. Then he goes to the Nuggets, and they pull off that incredible comeback, beating the 1 seed or whatever that was. And then he goes to Philly. He's a contributor and a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He might have actually, I don't know if he won it. I don't think he did. When he was with Iverson and them and helps Iverson and them get to a championship. I know everyone talks about that Iverson team had the least help ever, blah, blah, blah. That Iverson team had some really respectable players. Put some respect on Aaron McKee. Put some respect on Dikembe Mutombo. You know, they had some decent players. I know it wasn't the deepest team, and I'm not here to say that it was a great team, but I love Dikembe Mutombo because he contributed on multiple teams that did big things. He just never got over the hump. One of the best defensive players ever, again, at his position. And again, just like the rest of them, Dikembe Mutombo was another center that kind of got lost in the shuffle in a great era of really, really deep center play. Tiny Archibald. This one's fun. Tiny, of course, was an amazing player with the Kings, but then I believe he got hurt, and then he ended up going to the Celtics, I think it was, and then he won a championship there, I think. Yeah, it says one-time champion right in your face, you dipshit. Tiny could score, one-time assist champ, one-time scoring title. Like, that's really cool considering he's 6'1". They used to say, like, he was one of the quickest players in the league, and he could get to speeds that they really couldn't match back then, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, he averaged 34 and 11 and a half one year. That's Luka Doncic now numbers. And again, it's just a guy who was just really good. Grant Hill, another woulda, coulda, you know what I mean? He could have done even more. 5-time All-NBA. It could have been way more. He didn't deal with knee issues, consistent knee issues, it felt like. It was ankle. My bad, I thought it was knee. Either way. He dealt with injury after injury. Grant Hill was a hell of a player when healthy, but that's the issue with Grant Hill, is that you hardly got healthy, especially toward the back end. He was real productive with the Suns, too. Even when he had that little run with the Suns and Nash in them, he wasn't a bad player then. It wasn't, you know what I mean, not his, he wasn't there really anymore. It wasn't him. Oh my. So, him and Grant Hill are similar in the sense where it's like, they could have done more with their careers. Obviously, two different scenarios. Grant Hill's was kind of taken from him, and Paul George just kind of wasted his. One of the more interesting players ever, I'd say, because let's think about it. The last year's finals was Thunder versus Pacers, and Paul George played for both of those teams. And how did they end up in the championship? Well, they traded Paul George and ended up getting back a lot of assets. The Pacers get back Sabonis in the Paul George to OKC trade. They then use Sabonis to go get Halliburton. So that's tough. OKC, how'd they get to the championship? They traded Paul George for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who becomes the best player maybe in Thunder history soon. Like, come on, man. This is one of the worst. This is one of the toughest careers ever. Paul George is one of the wildly toughest careers ever. Pete Maravich, Pistol Pete, absolute bucket. Thought they'd rank him higher, honestly. Alex English, another bucket during the blow era of the NBA, I believe. Alex English was a demon in Denver. How many scoring titles? Just one? Huh. No, 3 All-NBAs, 8 All-Stars. Bro, what was going on with All-NBA voting back then? Did their team have to win like 80 games? No, you had to win like 60 games to make an All-NBA team. He was a bucket. Yeah, they literally described him as a bucket. Individually, I think I'm taking Alex English over Manu Ginobili. That's small beans, though. I get the championships and all that stuff. But I genuinely value a guy who could average 21, 5.5, and 3.5 over 13, 3.5, and 4. It's tough because there are team accolades that go into Manu Ginobili's rankings. If we're ranking individual players, I'd take like Adrien Dantley over Manu Ginobili. I know the winning is there, but as individual players, I mean, the stats are there. The stats literally say, I don't know, Alex English was probably better, but Dave Cowens was a bucket. He was a big man. He played in the ABA, I think, for a little bit. I think I'm getting him mixed up with somebody. Yeah, I'm getting him mixed up with Dan Issel. My bad. He was really good. I mean, he was really, really good. And again, another center where it's like I think he got hurt, and he won an MVP. He was really, really good. Yeah, shout out Dave Cowens. Hal Greer is a player I'm just never familiar with. Like, I know the name, obviously, but not a guy I've really read up on. I'm just going to keep moving because I don't want to speak on him. Paul Arizon's another guy where it's like, I've heard the name. He made the All-NBA 75 list, I think, and it's like, I don't know much about him. Again, 2 scoring titles. Like, that's kind of nuts. That's really good. 23 and 9. I mean, what position did he play? I thought he was like a guard. That's pretty cool, though. He also did 2 years in the military. Oh. Yeah, okay. So this is like not a Ted Williams situation, but close. Chris Bosh is really high. That makes me happy, made me smile. We love CB around here. Wes Unseld, didn't he invent the outlet pass? Hey, so I heard. I heard he invented the outlet pass. That's just what I heard. But you see, 11, 14, 4. He didn't average a block a game, but he was an undersized center. He won an MVP, one of the weirdest MVPs in NBA history. It's like, he had a really decent year. He had a good year, don't get me wrong, but it was like, is that an MVP year? I don't know. Kyrie, wow, that's fun. He hit one of the biggest shots in NBA Finals history. You know, 3-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Star. It's really a good resume for Kyrie Irving, especially since he's still adding to it. I don't think he's going to be getting any more All-NBAs. That's an opinion. It's probably going to be a fact. But he is like one of the best tough shot makers in league history. I mean, again, a winner, a guy who's won before on the biggest stage, being one of the best like wingmen ever. Parish, the Chief, was a demon. He played 100 years in the league, all right, and he was still relatively productive. He was so good with the Celtics, and then he left. I think he went and played with the Bulls and a lot of other places. He bounced, but Robert Parish was a big contributor on a lot of winning teams. There's the worm. Of course, look at the beautiful hair, man. That shit was awesome. Another one, just like Draymond Green, where it's like people look back and they're underwhelmed. 7.5 points, 13 boards, which is crazy for a power forward. And it's like, wow, that's really relatively underwhelming counting stats, but it's like, it doesn't count in defense and how good of a defender he was, especially when he was with the Pistons. He could not be scored on in Detroit. Keep moving. Joel Embiid is another one where it's interesting because it's like Grant Hill-esque, where it's like when he's healthy, he was a damn demon, but when he's healthy, was I don't know how else to describe it, was a what if in and of itself. 28, 11, 1.5 blocks. I mean, 34% as a big man from three. I miss healthy Joel Embiid, and I know that we'll probably never get it again, and that kind of makes me sad. I think he could have been way higher if he just was able to be healthy, or if he had just one playoff run in him, but he doesn't have that. And still on his resume, he's in like year 12, and he doesn't have a good playoff run in him yet. Vince Carter was amazing. Do I think he's this high, this good? I don't know. I know it was productive, and they're probably taking longevity, but the peak of like Joel Embiid was higher than the peak of Vince Carter. I think we can all agree on that one. But I don't know. I don't know how they did the rankings. Is it by accolades or what? Because there's some guys with a lot of team accolades, but not a lot of individual accolades that are here, i.e. Manu Ginobili. I don't know. It's a really weird thought process behind this. Dame Dalla, who, yes, this is about appropriate for him. Honestly, I like that spot a lot. Second best shooter ever, in my opinion. James Worthy, another guy I often forget, kind of gets lost in the shuffle because he was on stacked teams that were just crazy built. James Worthy was an incredible player. 18 points, 5 rebounds, just a jack of all trades type. That, like I said, I just kind of forget. And on top of that, I believe he was really, really good in college, too, of course. I didn't really get the chance to watch that, but you know what I mean. Pau Gasol, that's a really fun one. I didn't expect him to be this high. Bobby McAdoo, he was cool. I think that looks like a Jazz jersey, but I don't think he played with the Jazz, did he? Maybe I'm an idiot. I don't know. He was really good. I mean, Bob McAdoo, he played for the Clippers. He played for the Lakers, I think, right? Yes, while running with the Lakers. So he won his big individual accolade as a Buffalo Clipper. Was that Buffalo still at the time? I can't remember. He won his individual accolade, MVP, with the Clippers, I believe. But after that, kind of bounced around. He cut off the fro, too. I think he had a fro for a little while, didn't he? Here's Melo. Stay Melo. Weird one where it's like, he was individual accolades only, no team success whatsoever, like one conference finals appearance. That was in Denver in 06, whatever, 07, somewhere around there. He played Kobe. So that would have been 08, maybe? I can't remember. 2010? I don't know. 09. I was hovering around it. A guy with no individual accolades. Oh, no, that's too high. This is too high. It makes sense, though. You have two guys who are very only individual accolades and no team accolades back to back. It'd only be fitting. I mean, this is up there with Adrien Dantley. Tracy McGrady is an interesting case because 7-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA is crazy, but he was a shooting star. And on top of that, the guy never made it out of the first round as like the lead guy. He did it with the Spurs in 2012 or whatever the hell. Nobody cared. He wasn't really even playing. He was doing nothing. So it's really weird because, again, him as a player, well, he was a bucket. No contest about that. He was a bucket. But in terms of team success, he had none. Literally none. No second round appearances. He choked a 3-1 lead. I don't know. There's so many holes in Tracy McGrady's case where it's like, I think he could have been lower. Willis Reed, again, any Knicks player that's won a championship with the Knicks deserves to be put on a pedestal because the Knicks don't win. Willis Reed was a dog, bro. Him coming out of the tunnel, legendary stuff. Luka Doncic. Okay. Didn't expect him to see it. Okay. Dolph Shays. Oh, yeah, I remember watching him play live. Yeah, no, I don't, actually. 12-time All-NBA, that's more than I thought, honestly, though. He's a guy that I always type into quizzes. But I obviously I'm not turning on the Dolph Shays tape, no disrespect. He shot 38% for his career. Oh, he was a perimeter shooting big man? What? This guy was before his time. Do we have to start talking about what if Dolph Schayes played in the 2000s, 2010s? This guy is I don't know. I got the Brad Miller impression in me because he was a shooting big man. Blah blah blah. Bill Walton, just another one of those guys where it's like shooting star. His peak was beautiful and awesome to see, but he was injured often. And then he wins a championship with the Celtics. And he won a championship with the 79 Blazers, whatever the hell it was, 76, something like that. Either way, Bill Walton. I miss Bill Walton, like a lot. Pac-12, late night, Pac-12 after dark, Bill Walton calling college basketball games. I mean, that was the highlight of my teen years. For a lot of it was watching Pac-12 late night Peyton Pritchard and the Oregon games back in the day, even before Peyton Pritchard, obviously. But Bill Walton was commentating like a lot of those Pac-12 games, UCLA, because he was a UCLA guy, and I miss him so much. I know some people weren't a fan of his commentary style, but for somebody like me who was like 14 listening to this stuff at 2 a.m. on a Saturday, Bill Walton was the highlight of the night when he's out there saying like your defense needs to be as tough as, I don't know, beavers building a dam. I don't know. It was always fun to listen to. Reggie Miller, who I saw way too much in the playoffs this year because the Pacers went to the finals and he was at every game. I saw too much of him. I did not realize his individual accolades are this low. Of course, he's one of the best shooters of all time. He was the best shooter of all time for a while. Now I'd say he's like third. But Reggie, individual accolades are really low on Reggie Miller. I know he was a productive player for a while. He played until like the 2000s, obviously, with Artest in them. That year with Artest getting suspended, him, Jermaine, and all them guys, they should have won that championship, and that should have been Reggie Miller's, like, his championship. I don't know. That sucks, though. Gary Payton, the glove. His son is a nuisance as a defender. GP is one of the best trash talkers ever. You know what I mean? One of those guys. He still trash talks. I'm pretty sure he's a coach of the Big Three League, and he trash talks everyone. Dwight Howard didn't make the All-NBA 75 list, did he? Pretty sure he was one of those guys that got left off. Unbelievable how that list worked. Absolutely ridiculous. 8 All-NBAs? Like, that means he was the best the best player at his position for 8 years, potentially. 8-time All-Star, too. D12 with the sleeves on, and that I wanted a Dwight Howard jersey. He was one of those guys that, yes, they played the Celtics in the playoffs way too often, but he never, I never, like, disliked him. The only downside of Dwight Howard's career was that the game mentioned him and said, I'm on the block like D12. The game is a top 1 million rapper of all time, on the fringe. Ray Allen, don't show him in a Heat jersey. That is disrespectful. Dominique Wilkins, an ACL or an Achilles tear legend. He came back from an Achilles tear and was even better than when he had left. I'm pretty sure he averaged like 30 the year after an Achilles tear. Yep, he had a torn Achilles, averaged 28 a game the next season, and finished 5th in MVP voting. Absolutely nuts. Paul Pierce, another guy where it's like individual accolades are kind of lower than I expected. But of course, the championship, finals MVP, he hit dagger after dagger in his career. One of the more clutch shot makers in league history, in my opinion. Russell Westbrook, of course, Mr. Triple-Double. Surprised he's not higher. Elvin Hayes, a gentle giant. It's one of those weird ones because it's like, I never watched him play, but every time I hear a story about like one of his former teammates talking about him, they always describe him as like a really, really cool dude. 12-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, 2-time All-Defense, 2-time rebound champ, 1-time scoring title. Like, though, that's kind of nuts for accolades. 45% from the field is kind of ugly for a big man, but again, we're comparing it to today's efficiency standard, so I don't know. Kevin McHale, some of the best footwork of all time, a winner. He used to teach post work and stuff. He used to do camps for post work. He was a demon in the post. AD, the most dominant college player I've ever seen. I know old heads are gonna be like, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar got dunking banned. I know, but I didn't watch Kareem play. I was -30 when Kareem was dogging in the league. He had the best college run I've ever seen. I don't really care about any of the other answers. Some people say like Zion and stuff. AD was averaging like 20 and 5 blocks in the tournament. He was nuts. And when they allowed him to just kind of camp in the lane, because I don't think defensive 3 is a thing in college basketball. It was a little longer or something like that, but they just kind of allowed him to camp under the basket, and they funneled everything right to him, and he was sending everyone shot into the damn seats. George Mikan, they teach Mikan drills for a reason, kids. Go do some Mikan drills right now. Oh God, why were they calling them Mikan drills? He shot 40%. I don't know, man. Maybe because he was one of the, yeah, left-handed skilled layups. Yeah, dude, Mike and drills still exist to this day. Walt Frazier should be higher. You won the Knicks a championship, and that stuff doesn't happen very often. George Gervin, the Iceman. Of course, he was a bucket, too. He was a bucket before buckets were, like, one of the peak things. I listened to an old head the other day. I made a friend at the park. He's, like, 70. Nah, he's like, 60-something. His name was, like, Mahmoud or something like that. I forget what his name was. And I was talking to him about, like, old basketball players. And he was like, yep, George Gervin ain't never win nothing because he took too many jump shots. Him and Dr. J, they would have won 10 times more, but they took way too many jump shots. It just goes to show you, kids, if you think the comparing and saying players need to stop doing this and critiquing players, if you think that's new for the media, they were doing that back in the day. Old Ed was literally hating on Dr. J like he wasn't playing 50 years ago. Gervin, I wonder if he took too many jump shots. I don't know, man. They said he was an empty scorer. I remember that. I don't think that's true at all. There's no such thing as empty scoring. If you're trying to win games, there's no such thing as empty stat. Rick Barry, efficiency demon. Like an efficiency demon. He only shot 30% from three for his career, but like that's nobody was shooting threes back in the day. He was taking like one a game, I'd bet. 12-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, 1-time Finals MVP. Like, look at that accolades page. And to think they're only getting more and more accolades per like player. Pat Ewing, another guy who unfortunately never won because he was during the Jordan years, where Jordan was God. And then he got to the finals once, and I'm pretty sure they lost to, is that Olajuwon? Like, I don't know, man. Pat Ewing, I'm not high on. Actually, as a matter of fact, when it's like him, Starks, and Houston, and all those former Knicks at the Knicks games, I call that losers row because they never won a damn thing. Shout out Patrick Ewing. Shout out Georgetown. What kind of shot is that? Have you ever practiced that shot? Clyde Drexler. A bucket. Another one where it's George Gervin-esque, where it's like he was a bucket, a high flyer type. You know who I'm surprised we haven't seen on this list? David Thompson. There's Bob Pettit, I guess. I never watched Bob Pettit play. He had the hairiest chest in human history. Holy brother. Bob Cousy, the Coos magnet. He was nice. 37.5% from the field for his career. Again, it was only layups back in the day. That's all they did was take layups. So the fact that he could even average that is incredible. AI at 36. AI at 36. Okay, let's keep going. Steve Nash, 2-time MVP. You're not going to hear Steve Nash slander out of me. He's kind of the mold for the current day point guard, like a Halliburton type. You know what I mean? Like they want these elite passers, these IQ guards. I just wish, and I think even Steve Nash has said it before, he wishes he was more aggressive offensively in his prime, like looking for his shot and shooting more. I think everyone wishes that. Look at his efficiency, 49-43 for a career. Like if he shot more, I think people would respect Steve Nash a lot more. James Harden over AI. Okay, so there's an argument here, obviously. 1-time MVP, 8-time All-NBA. Like their accolade page is going to look so similar because both of them were one-man army offenses. Like they were the entire offense. And so some people are going to look back at that and be like, they weren't team first guys. I'd say James Harden was a better passer than AI was, but I don't know. In terms of like, they're going to be similar in terms of like individual scoring. They were both buckets. They both had one finals appearance. Didn't really matter because both times they got smoked off the floor. But AI has very similar accolades to Harden. It really depends on which one you want. Again, I'm not impartial to either one. I kind of would probably take James Harden because he's bigger. Definitely struggled less defensively. I know there's montages of James Harden's bad defense, but like if you watched him even at his peak, he was a fire hydrant in the post. You know, he was a guy that had weight. You couldn't really push him around. Sure, you would catch him falling asleep here and there, but I can't name an NBA player that's never fallen asleep before in a game. A kid, ooh, okay, over Nash. I guess he won championships, you know, all defense. There's value there. Would you rather have Nash or Kidd all time? Comment down below, Nash or Kidd. Take your choice. I'd probably take Kidd as well. I like bigger guards. You know what I mean? Kawhi Leonard. Another one where it's like could have been. I know Kawhi Leonard has some of the greatest playoff runs ever. But in terms of accolades, he's kind of light. 6-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, 7-time All-Defense, incredible. But because of the lack of regular season games played, he's going to lack regular season awards and accolades. You know, Kawhi Leonard was amazing and still is amazing. To be honest, if you watch him in the playoffs, he's really, really good. An efficiency god. Yeah, 50-40 for his career, basically. Efficiency god. I think the most legendary thing that he'd ever done was the I want to guard Giannis thing in the playoffs. Like, that kind of goes hard. Hondo over Kawhi is fun. Hondo was a bucket too. 21 a game, like, really respectable scoring numbers from Hondo. 11-time All-NBA. Like, that's incredible stuff right there. Yeah, I'd have him over Kawhi as well. Chris Paul, again, he's in the same breath as Nash and Kidd, where it's like, which one would you rather have? If you're looking for longevity, you're going to get Chris Paul, because Chris Paul, even today, can still go out there and play very well in, like, year 20. I'm going to miss Chris, but the day Chris Paul retires, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be really sad, and it's going to be after this current season. I think he said one more ride, one more farewell tour type thing, which makes me really sad. I'm going to miss Chris Paul a lot. A lot of people don't like Chris Paul because of the antics, but I think that's what makes Chris Paul one of the more likable players in my eyes, is the fact that he was such a competitor. He would call you out for not tucking your damn jersey in and getting delay of game on you. Like, that competitive nature was always just beautiful to me. I love to see it. Stockton, nope. I'm taking Jason Kidd. I'm taking Chris Paul. I'm taking Steve Nash over John Stockton. Let's keep it moving. Scottie Pippen, greatest Batman of all time. Or greatest Robin of all time. Jesus Christ, I'm getting him confused. Yeah, there was Alfred too. Either way, he was a legend, man. And even when the teams that Pippen was on that Jordan was not on had regular season success. You know, the Portland teams that Pip was on, they made the conference finals, I believe. He lost in the conference finals, I believe, too, without Jordan. That might have been second round. Either way, they won a lot of games. And Pip was just an all-around player. You know what I mean? Like, he was just all around really good. 16, 6, and 5 with 2 steals and a block per game. Like, he was a really good defensive player and a pretty good offensive player as well. Very rare archetype. Here's Zeke. We talked about Zeke earlier. One of the best point guards ever. I would take him over John Stockton. This is the part that they got right for sure. Elgin, another guy I just commonly forget. I get him mixed up with James Worthy way too often, considering they're both legends of the game. It's just kind of like how in my brain, I process orange and yellow as the same color. I process Elgin Baylor as the same player. And then I get Jamal Wilkes mixed up in that too, because they all played for the Lakers and they were wings. Elgin was so damn good. 10-time All-NBA, 11-time All-Star, and he's lacking individual accolades simply because he played with other demons on the court with him. Yeah, 60s pace was crazy. 60s and 70s, they were moving from what I remember offensively. Chuck. Shout out to Chuck, man. He's on the GLP-1 shots or whatever nowadays. He looks slim. Looks really good. I like Chuck. He was a really funny guy, obviously. And I think he was the, not the archetype for players today, but kind of like that, where a lot of players today have embraced that thought of, like, your kid should not look up to me. I'm a basketball player. You know, Chuck was the originator of that. I'm not a role model was basically Chuck's mantra back in the day. In terms of individual play, like, Chuck was the best player on Team USA, in my opinion. Oh, that Team USA team was so stacked, but Chuck was, like, in their camps and stuff, they said Chuck was a dog. He comes in 92 and wins MVP. I think it was 92, right? And now you look, and there's so many players that are kind of like him in today's NBA. I think they mention it in down here. Blake Griffin, Zion, Draymond, Julius Randle, all these guys are literally Charles Barkley types, where it's like they're rebounding big men who can pass a little bit too. Would have been way better if he maximized his three-point shot, or at least practiced it. He took a lot of them, like a lot more than I think people realize. Chuck took a lot of threes. He didn't hit them at a great clip at all. But Chuck was a damn load, and I'm pretty sure they invented the 5-second back to the basket call because of Chuck. He would just post you up for 40 seconds if he needed to. Here's Giannis. I thought he'd be a little bit higher to be Giannis. To be honest, I thought Giannis would be higher. I kind of did. Who's above him? D-Wade. All right, I'm taking Giannis over D-Wade. I'm sorry. I just am. I know the Flash was amazing. Flash was unbelievably great. He was one of the best shot blocking guards ever. He averaged about 1 per game as a guard. Like, that's unheard of. He invented the rip-through foul, basically. He was like a pioneer to rip-throughs and kicking the leg out. He was a demon at kicking the leg out and getting fouls on that. D-Wade was like one of the originators of foul baiting. He was so damn good at it. But I'm still taking Giannis over D-Wade. I don't know. I'm taking the guy. I think Giannis has a scoring title. He doesn't? I thought he did. He had a couple of seasons averaging like 30. He's always been around it. I don't know, man. I'd probably take Giannis over D-Wade. The couple MVPs, like D-Wade doesn't even have one MVP. No disrespect to D Wade. I just think I'm taking Giannis over him. Nope. Moses, the real Malone I want to talk about. Moses was a load, and he could rebound like a demon. This is a guy where I'm sure if you're around my age and you ask your dad if they like basketball, like, hey, Dad, how good was Moses Malone? My dad goes like on for 30 minutes about how good Moses was. He loved Moses Malone. Dr. J, another guy, he just took too many jump shots, man. If him and George Gervin just took layups all the time, they'd have won way more. He only won championship. He would have won 5 if he just took more layups. That's what the guy at the park told me, so must be true. He watched him. I didn't. Dr. J was entertainment, though, all things considered. That's just what he was. He was one of the greatest entertainers in basketball history just because nobody was doing what he was doing. They were not moving like Dr. J back in the day. There was just like 4 players in the league who could do what he did, maybe back in the day. 2. Not many guys were making that scoop layup. I know that scoop layup is common today. A lot of players can do the up and under move and okay, but back in the day, they really weren't. So you have to measure it against other people of the time. I'm sure another super athlete's going to come in the NBA and absolutely break it again. His name is Amen Thompson, by the way. The Admiral's higher than I thought. Okay, he is a 2-time champ. That matters to me. He won one in his last year, I think, with the Spurs. So I don't know how to feel about the Admiral, man. He was really, really good. He dropped 70 in a game once upon a time, I believe. He was really, really good. I just don't know. I don't know. Would I take Moses over D-Rob? I don't know. The Admiral was super good. I just might take Moses over him. Dirk. That's appropriate for Dirk. I like that spot. Yoke at 17 is lower than I thought, too. Guy's like a 3-time MVP, 1-time finals winner. I know his All-NBAs and All-Stars are lacking, but like 5 years go by. He's going to be a 12-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA if this pace just continues. And I don't see him slowing down anytime soon. His game isn't predicated on any form of athleticism, speed, jumping ability, which those are things that always age worse. Like Giannis is more so predicated on being faster than you and jumping higher than you, especially at his size. Jokic is predicated on, I'm just going to get into the lane and make this floater 85% of the time, and there's nothing you can do about it. Who's above Jokic? KG. I'm not having this conversation. This is way too difficult, and KG's my guy. I don't think I'll ever... It's just 2 different skill sets. KG was a mid-range assassin, also being a defensive juggernaut. He's the only MVP in Minnesota Timberwolves history. Like, there's so much cool stuff about KG. Him and Carmelo's beef, him and Dwight Howard's beef, him and LeBron's beef. KG was the biggest hater in the NBA. Before being a hater was funny, like it is now, in my opinion. I love KG. I miss him, and he does like the live streams and stuff. He's one of the better old heads when it comes to loving the NBA players of today. He talks highly about a majority of them, and I really like that. Mr. Logo, the logo man himself, Jerry West. I like Jerry West. I got to watch him play live a couple of times. He was so good. Obviously, I'm joking there, but at 12, this is insane. 14 All-Star, 12 All-NBA is nuts. Big O. There was times where Big O was ranked higher than this to a lot of people. The point guard rankings all time are an absolute mess because Big O is at 14, and I'm sure I'll see one more ahead of him. KD, 13. That's fun. Yeah, it's about right for KD. I don't think he's ever going to be top 10 all time because people are going to point to and say, like, yes, he won those championships, but he won them because he joined a team that was already established. He's never won one, quote-unquote, on his own, being the main guy. Although he was the best player on the 2018 Warriors, I'll say it. But he wasn't the guy. It was Steph. That was his team. KD never had anything organic that he built, and especially post-Achilles tear, his best chance of doing anything was with the Nets, but his foot was on the damn line. Now I just don't think there's a real world where he wins one again. No offense, Rockets fans, but I don't know. Hakeem could be higher, in my opinion. Probably should be higher. I guess we'll see who's ahead of him. He's one of the best offensive and defensive players ever. Like, I don't know what else to say about that. 3.1 blocks per game and 1.7 steals. So this guy was essentially causing 5 turnovers per game because he's stealing the ball twice and he's blocking the ball 3 times. Now, whether it's a turnover or not on the block, it depends on whether he blocks out of bounds, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. He's basically causing 5 empty possessions per game minimum for the opposing team. It's one of the most dominant players ever. And I know people toss around like Shaq and LeBron. Hakeem goes in there too. He had a million post moves and he just couldn't be stopped. Once he had that pivot foot down, you were done. The Mamba. Oh, okay. I think 11's fair as well. A lot of people want him higher because of nostalgia and stuff like that. But I don't know. In terms of like accolades and stuff like that, Kobe has it all. I just don't think he's as high. 1 MVP is kind of underwhelming. 2 Finals MVPs is also kind of like, it's great. He's an all-time great. If you want him higher, I guess I'll have to respect it. But also, yeah, I wouldn't have him over Steph Curry. Steph Curry's definitely proven himself. The 2022 ring solidified Steph Curry as a top 15 player of all time. And this hurts my soul. Like, it really does. I hate him with all my might. If there's any NBA player I wish to never win a ring again for their career currently, it's Steph. Satanic black magic, devil worshiping shit. You know, it's black magic what he does. I don't know. He's the greatest shooter ever. But here's the thing. He's similar to Jimmy Butler. I don't think I'll ever like him because he haunted my nightmares for too many years. Wilt, okay. I'm taking Hakeem Olajuwon over Wilt Chamberlain. Okay. I think we can live with that. Is Bill Russell above him? Larry Bird, Larry Joe, obviously. Don't ever put a white player on me. It's disrespectful or whatever he said. Larry Bird was a legend. Look at the hair. Imagine a guy with a mullet in like the 80s just giving you hell. And the only reason his accolades stopped, people might be underwhelmed by 12-time All-Star, 10-time All-NBA. He would have been more, but I'm pretty sure he hurt his back, like paving his mother's driveway or something. Like cleaning his mother's driveway, shoveling snow or some shit. Like, the fact that he could have had more, but he got hurt and his back was torched after a while. Like, even on the Dream Team years, he was on the back end. He was going downhill quickly. But Bird was so damn good. Tim Duncan at 7. I respect it. Would I take Hakeem over Tim Duncan? Yes. Yeah, I probably would. No offense to Tim Duncan. I watched the whatever final. He was struggling. I think it was 05 or whatever. He struggled. There was some moments where he definitely struggled as a player, but you know, Tim Duncan was so fundamentally sound, and he was quiet about it. Everyone liked him because he just worked. You know what I mean? He just did his job and went home. Shaq. Okay. 6 is a little bit high. Would I take Tim Duncan over Shaq? Probably not. Shaq's got the accolades. MVP, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of value in that. Plus, he won with 2 different teams, which I think is pretty cool as well. Almost 3. He almost won one with Orlando, except for Hakeem Olajuwon put a stop to that. He put his foot on that. Would I put Hakeem Olajuwon over Shaquille O'Neal? Yes. I know some people are going to be like, I would too. I would. 2.3 blocks per game. That's literally almost a full block less than Hakeem was averaging. Also, while being just as good of a scorer, just as good of a rebounder, probably a better passer, I'd probably take Hakeem over Shaq. No offense. Bill Russell, really high. I respect winning. It's really high. Would I take Shaq and Hakeem over Bill Russell? I can't do that. It's way too different of a time played. I can't compare that. Of course, this is never going to happen again. 11-time champion, one as a player coach. I'll repeat that. It's never happening again. Just one of the best individuals in NBA history. And I'm not going to talk about his ranking and everything like that because the amount he did off the court is 10 times more than what he did on the court. Magic at 4? Whoa. Tragic Johnson at 4? I already made the hook shot. I don't care about the hook shot. Screw you. 5-time champ, 3-time MVP. Like, Magic was really, 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 really good. He was the precursor to LeBron, essentially. He was the original model of LeBron, an oversized guard that could pass, but he wasn't shooting the ball really. Magic at 5 is interesting. I really like Magic Johnson. Of course, his career, similar to Bird's, was kind of like a weird ending where it was like that 4-letter acronym, I believe that is AIDS, you know, whatever that stands for. HIV, I don't know, he got hives? I don't know. Either way, Magic is a legend. It seems really high. 4 is really high, though. Kareem at 3 is respectable. One of the biggest winners in NBA history, up there with the Bill Russells and stuff. I know Bill Russell won 11, but 6 is incredible. Also, the fact that he never lost a college basketball game is just nuts to think about. I think he lost like one game in his college career. Remember him in what is it, Airplane or whatever? My dad says you're soft and you only play for your own stats and not for the team. Kareem was about to choke that kid. All-time funny NBA player as well. He was another guy where it's like off the court, he did so much that on the court, it kind of dwarfs what he did off the court. He was a great human being. He opted out of the Vietnam War, was it? We won't go into that one. But the skyhook, I mean, he's got all the stuff to be a top 3 NBA player of all time, and he is. All right, now number 2 and number 1, they have LeBron and Michael. Do I wade into this water? You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to put LeBron over Jordan at this point. I know the finals. People are going to throw finals in my face. Okay, I understand that. But I'm going to throw longevity back at you, the all-time scoring leader. You know what I mean? And on top of that, he has more assists than Michael Jordan. He has more rebounds than Michael Jordan. I think that's also, like, it's pretty sick. I think longevity matters more than people think, in my opinion at least. Longevity matters a lot. And I know people are like, it means nothing. It just means he stuck around longer. Playing at an elite level for that long is crazy. You know how much that means you take care of your body? I mean, that's a lot of work just taking care of your body. No disrespect, Mike wasn't doing that. He was eating pizza before finals games. He was drinking wine every other day. He was drinking wine more than he was drinking water, I'm not going to lie. Out till 2 a.m. gambling. Like, there's no scandals on LeBron. The biggest scandal on LeBron is what? That he may have taken HGH. May. You know what I mean? Like, there needs to be concrete proof. I need, what's his name, Pablo Torre or whatever, to tell me that before I start thinking it. It's only rumors. His drama is only rumors. MJ legit was a gambling demon. I know, I respect the hell out of the 6 championships, 6 for 6. Never went to a game 7. People are going to throw LeBron's my under 500 finals record in there. I mean, it matters, don't get me wrong. The winning does matter. But I like longevity more than I like peak. You know what I mean? Especially when LeBron's peak. What is LeBron's peak? What year is LeBron's peak? I don't know, 08 or 07. My bad, 07. 2012, 2014, 2013 was really good as well. 2018, 2020 was pretty good too. 2024, LeBron was actually pretty all right too. You know what I mean? It just doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. I know I'm glazing LeBron very heavily right now, but I think I just take the longevity at this point. No disrespect to MJ. He is the best, he's the best scorer ever. I'll just go out and say it. He's the best scorer ever, like pure scorer. But I just like the longevity more. If you have enjoyed this video, like, subscribe. You might as well. You've been here for a while, so I'm going to catch the game. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for joining.